It's April 26th, 2022, and you know why you're here, so let's kick this off right and introduce the players. Hey, I am Gerissar, a PvP Padawan.
Through what SquadOV provides, and it's that much easier. And admittedly, less of a WoW player nowadays. Mainly played during WoW Legion, where I did a Mythical Dan ahead of the curve, and that's kind of my background.
What was that like doing Mythic Gul'dan ahead of the curve?
Oh, I like to say that, but honestly, I kind of got carried through it. I mean, granted, I was good enough to get carried through it, but yeah, I wasn't like a true Mythic Raider. But I like to say that I did ahead of the curve because I technically did. But yeah, I'm not your typical Mythic Raider.
Well, at least you didn't pay a bunch of gold to do it. You actually earned your spot, right? So
yeah. Let's say that. I mean, I was part of a guild, and I did it with a guild run when they needed a DPS fill in.
Oh, nice. Well, that's still cool. I mean, yeah, you held your spot, which is
Exactly.
Good. Yeah,
exactly.
Nice, nice. Well, instead of talking about Legion and what's happened, oh my god, how long was that? That was like what, 8 years ago?
Been a while.
6 years.
4 years? Yeah, I don't even remember anymore. No, gosh, more than that. Yeah,
yeah,
it has to be 6.
Yeah, something like 2016 or something. I mean, I was still in school then.
Oh my god, we're getting so old. We're getting too old for this.
Yes.
But instead of talking about 6 years ago, let's talk about at least the last 2 weeks. I'm going to start with you, Mike, though. What have you been up to the last 2 weeks, either in video games or just IRL?
Well, I guess my company is kind of my life nowadays. So, but aside from, just working on SquadOV, I guess, which we'll talk about later. I mean, in terms of video games, I've been playing a lot of Lost Ark recently, and recently got into Fortnite as well. So that's kind of my two sort of circles of video games currently.
That's all right. I haven't gotten into Lost Ark yet. What's has anybody else played that? What's that game like?
I'm too addicted to WoW, sadly.
It strikes a little itch. Like I deep at my core is like I still love that MMO sort of RPG thing.
Mm-hmm.
But WoW is probably too much for me at this point. So it's a nice little scratch, but without the whole commitment I would have with WoW.
It's definitely a time sink, isn't it? With WoW, you're kind of like, you've got to put so much time in, and when you're so busy in life in general, how are you going to have to like do everything, do all the dailies, grind that rep, when you could just get in and smack stuff in Lost Ark, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. I think that's why everybody likes things like Lost Ark, Fortnite, even HOTS, right? You get to do all that stuff. So
just jump in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How about Jake? What have you been up to since our last show?
Oh, wow. Since our last show, well, I've just had 10 days off work, which means that I have spent too much time in Zereth Mortis. So my brain is working in that strange, weird language that they use, Automa. I can't remember. I should know this, but that's how my head feels at the minute. But yeah, honestly, just been grinding it. I've been playing a lot of 3s. I've been doing a lot of 2s, getting very upset in 2v2 arena. Just like basically 3 chesting everything to catch up from my week off when I had the coronavirus. So it's been lots of fun.
Nice.
I've definitely forgotten a lot of what real life looks like. The sun has not graced my skin in some time. Obviously, I'm joking. Actually, I have taken a break. Make sure you take a break, kids.
Yeah, I was gonna call baloney there because I saw some tweets of you being outside and talking about sunshine. So
you know me. I can't lie to you. I did go outside. and it was nice. But it was definitely a welcome distraction for 12 hours a day grinding. So it was lots of fun. But yeah.
Nice. One quick question.
Mhm.
How do you feel about Fury Warriors?
No, I hate them so much. I actually, just before we went live, I tuned into a buddy called Ryzen, who's like a multi-clad
Yeah.
boomkin, and he was queuing into a Fury Warrior, and he was so angry, and I was just sitting there typing to him, going, "Dude, I feel your pain. This is like PTSD. Totally understand this." And he was just like basically dead the whole time. He was like, "I can't live this." 40% uptime on a Mortal Strike effect. It's a bit gross, but yeah. So I hate them quite clearly.
Nice. Wow. So I have to admit right now, I'm gonna. I just realized that I totally forgot to start the Zencaster recording in the background. So
No.
I completely missed the intro there, and I actually was a little late getting the intro off on the VOD, so I think I completely missed the intro. But that's okay.
Happy little accidents,
Happy little accidents, which is
only
very
been
unfortunate.
3 episodes, hasn't it? So that's
Oh my gosh.
baby
I
members.
haven't messed that up for at least I'll admit my brain has been a little bit distracted lately. I'm pretty tired. So a little busy IRL, taking care of IRL things.
Very understandable.
Indeed. I'll say though so I've been really busy IRL. I like barely squeezed in game time, barely enough to like do my auction houses and maybe get in and do some dailies and stuff like that. And I was able to get in a few mythic pluses, just enough to get a 1 chest in my vault. And it was not an upgrade. It was a downgrade. I already have best in slot 172 cloak, and I'm getting like some other cloak. I was like, meh. So I picked up the 2 coins and put those now into my bank so that I can use those for when I need to. Hopefully, if I get 6, I can get myself a gem slot on that one piece of gear that needs a gem slot. But other than that, Big, I think you've had a bit more of an exciting week than I have, or the last 2 weeks. What have you been up to the last 2 weeks, man?
Yeah, I took full advantage of Comp Stomp, and I wound up boosting and gearing a Holy Priest. I got a bit bored of playing Resto Druid for the past, how long it's been, 15 years, and I decided to change things up, and I was really enjoying it. And it was a bit of insult to injury, so I had probably the worst week of queue sessions ever this week playing Resto Druid.
Mhm.
And in my vault for my Druid, I got absolute garbage. Like, just the worst stuff imaginable. But then on my Priest, who I recently just leveled, I wound up getting a tier piece in my vault. So it was like, wow, is this a sign from the gods telling me to reroll Holy Priest?
Yeah.
But anyway, I will say this. Playing a meta class in WoW is a lot of fun. I think there's a tendency to think, screw these meta re-rollers, but man, it is a blast playing something that's really, really good in WoW. So
Yeah.
that was my week. I had a very fun time pressing chastise and mind games on people, and farming up some gear on a Holy Priest. Got 1800 on the very first week ever playing this silly little healer. So it was really fun. Had a really fun time this week.
That sounds
Become part of
awesome.
the problem.
What's the item level of your 1800 rated Holy Priest now?
It was 240 PvP item level, I think.
Okay.
This week, so it had full honor gear, but almost none of it was upgraded. Again, I've just been pressing chastise and mind games, and that seems to be working. I don't know who needs gear when you can just blast people, right?
Who you need?
Yeah. So, but I have 2-piece. I have my tier set 2-piece, so I'm gonna be even better this week, even though it's got nerfed today. But no big deal. I will overcome the nerfs.
That's all right. Yeah, we'll get into the nerfs when we get into the news. But I was gonna say, so are you like done with playing Druid then for this season, or are you gonna try to
No,
keep
I'm
the 2
not.
healers going?
I'm not done playing Druid. It's just, it's like Druid is a classic sports car, like a muscle car, right? Like it's a
Mm-hmm.
muscle car from the 80s. It looks really cool. It's kind of nostalgic, but it kind of runs a bit slow and the engine doesn't work properly. But like playing Priest is like playing a new like state of the art vehicle. It's just everything is efficient. You feel like everything is fast and
Yep.
really responsive, and it just feels amazing. So it's a bit of a contrast. And I'll still play my Druid, but it depends on what mood I'm in. If I want to take it slow, I'll play Druid. If I want to go fast, I'll play Priest.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds I guess that's the one thing. It's nice to have the choice and always have that comfort pick, that nostalgia, but still be able to play into that flavor that you really like.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, slightly distracted. Looks like I'm dropping frames now. I'm just having a heck of a night. I'm forgetting to hit record on Zencaster. Didn't undeafen it ahead of time in the on the stream. It's just I'm just having a heck of a night. I'm sorry, but that's okay. We're into the important part, which is actually we're going to do the need, greed, and pass, and then we'll start talking to Mike about SquadOV and that. But first, I really want to do this need, greed, and pass.
This likely won't be a clean fight, so keep your distance, eh?
There we go. Into the need, greed, and pass. So like always, good old segment where one of the hosts is going to be me. We pose a scenario with some options into it, and then everybody gets to pick, take their turn picking which one they're going to need, greed, and pass of the options. So I'm gonna cheat though, and I like to do that because this is my damn podcast, and I'm doing a cheat. So instead of just doing 3, I'm actually going to do like 5 selections.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that's because Blizzard, they're cheating because they just dropped a whole bunch of news on a whole bunch of products that they're releasing. So not only did they just announce the next WoW expansion, right, for Dragonflight, they also announced the new Diablo Immortal is coming out, and it's not only going to be mobile, it's also going to be on PC. They got Overwatch 2 is hitting into open beta, if I'm not mistaken. And then they just did the earnings call, and they announced that the Warcraft mobile is about to launch, and Diablo 4 is on internal testing, internal alpha, which means that it's going to be coming out soon. So the question is, folks, need, greed, pass. Of all the new things that are coming from Blizzard, which one are you going to need on, which one will you greed, and which one are you going to pass on?
Oof.
Honestly, let's just do need and greed because those are the only 2 you can pick. So the rest are all going to pass. So I'm going to I see Jake there. You got you got that puzzling look on your face. So
It's a hard question. It's a hard question, and I'm more kind of thinking for Mike, who has who hasn't played WoW in such a long time. This is a harder choice for you because it's a very easy one for the rest of us. Because quite clearly,
Are all you guys needing on the WoW expansion?
I mean, I don't know if Big or Gerissar is going to go for the new WoW expansion, but I imagine as WoW players, I'm speaking for myself, I'm definitely needing the WoW expansion. That's for sure. And I'm gonna greed Diablo 4 just because I'm intrigued,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna pass on the rest. Mostly because I don't care about Overwatch. I don't care about playing Warcraft on my mobile. And Diablo Immortal is basically Diablo 3, isn't it? But for something else. So yeah, those would be my ones.
That's funny. I'm actually like the kind of the flip of your need and greed. I would need Diablo 4 for myself because I'm just like a big I guess top down isometric guy. As displayed by my Lost Ark addiction, I guess.
Mhm.
And then I would greed to the WoW expansion. Even though I don't play, I love to see a thriving WoW scene. It's a game that I have many fond memories in, and it's also a big part of my SquadOV community. So love to see the new WoW expansion have a duo.
Great. That's perfect. Well, I'll see you there. What are you, Gerissar? What would you go for?
Me? Oh, okay. So, I don't know. Like the new Dragonflight, like it looked good. Don't get me wrong, it looked good. The new Evoker class that looked fun. It looks like it's gonna be broken AF in PvP. Not gonna lie. Am I gonna play it? Yes. Am I gonna need it? I'm gonna say no. Actually, no. I'm actually really interested in the Diablo Immortal. I like the idea of something, something like Diablo that I could play on my phone, and the whole mobile. I really like the idea. So actually, I was gonna need that, and then I'm gonna greed on the Warcraft mobile because I'm assuming it's RTS. I'm assuming that it's a redo of the old RTS stuff, and that kind of turn based. Well, it's not turn based, but I really miss that, and I'd love to play that on my phone, like sitting on the bus, sitting in the mall while my wife is shopping for clothes or something like that. Pull out the phone and do a quick level. I think that'd be pretty fun. So, and then obviously I'll have to pass on the rest. I think.
Could you imagine doing like all those custom maps in Warcraft 3 on the go on the phone or something like that? That would be actually pretty cool.
There'd be so many car accidents.
Wasn't correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Dota a custom map in Warcraft 3?
It was.
And
Yeah.
it just became a standalone game. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I often say to people
the
same thing. I say no, sorry. I was just going to say a lot of the things I say is when I speak to people that love Dota, I'm just like, yo, isn't that just like a Warcraft 3 mod? And they get really angry.
It was.
I mean, so many great games are like, from like Warcraft 3 custom maps, StarCraft custom maps, like Flash games. Like so many games that we love nowadays. There's some like variation of one of those.
It's very true. I mean, I suppose the whole MOBA genre,
Yeah.
League of Legends and everything comes from that Warcraft 3 map. So thanks Blizzard, I guess.
Indeed. Actually, I want to say thank you to Blizzard for not picking it up, because they were offered and they didn't, and then it went over to Valve, wasn't it, that picked it up?
Yep.
Yeah. Which I made it. I think they did an awesome job. But I think Big, you haven't gone yet. What's your pick?
Yes. So obviously I'm gonna need the new WoW expansion. And then my greed is kind of contingent upon what type of Warcraft mobile game gets developed. I mean, is it confirmed going to be basically a copy paste of Warcraft just on a cell phone?
Nope.
Is that what we understand?
Absolutely no confirmation.
So we don't have any
whatsoever.
information about it.
Nope. I'm just guessing.
In that case, yeah. In that case, I'm gonna actually greed on the Warcraft mobile game, assuming that it could potentially be something like Pokemon Go. Like if it's a Niantic game where it uses Google Maps and you're kind of exploring the free, the world in this kind of sandbox environment, I would love that for a mobile game. I got really into playing Pokemon Go, not immediately when it was released, but about a year after its release, and I had a blast playing that game for a few years. And so I love the ability to go outside and kind of walk and level up and catch things, and I think having that sort of game in the Warcraft universe would be insane. So I'm gonna greed on the Warcraft mobile game just because I think if there's a tendency for hardcore gamers to kind of kind of think that mobile games are not to be taken seriously, or they're just kind of silly, but I think they're really fun. And so I'm gonna go with the Warcraft mobile game as the greed.
That's a really good point. I wonder what that would be like some sort of Warcraft, almost like augmented reality.
Yeah,
that'd be dope. I was just thinking as Big was talking, like Pokemon Go-esque. What was if you walked around and you found quest givers and they gave you quests, and you walked over and you press buttons and you have like a weapon or a sword, and you
Yeah.
attacked, I don't know, like creatures or something. You had to go and like, like farm like loads of quill boar in, your local sort of like, I don't know, sort of, I'm trying to think of a store that everyone, I don't know, your local McDonald's, I don't know, something like nearby there where you just kind of like hack and slash that, and then you went back and got rewards and everything like that. That would be insane.
This is a topic for a completely different episode, but Pokemon Go has PvP, and
Yeah.
it's very, very complex. It's like it's like rock paper scissors, but with like shields, and it's like counters. It's absolutely crazy. So I mean, if you haven't played Pokemon Go in a while, I highly suggest it. It's a very complicated game these days, and it's really fun still. So yeah,
All right.
love the mobile games.
Yeah. Back when I was living out on the West Coast, there was a used game store that did a bunch of community stuff, and weekly there was a Pokemon Go group. They'd all show up there, and they'd be giving quests, and they'd have to go around the city and do a bunch of stuff, and then come back and meet up. So I'm just imagining that with like if this was what it was with Warcraft, imagining like a bunch of people going out, a bunch of Warcraft players meeting up at some spot, and then like dispersing into the city and doing a bunch of stuff, and then coming back. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Mythic rating IRL.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, right. Yeah, people are doing a 40, man. Everybody to the park.
Can you imagine that? 40 people in the park just like pressing their buttons, getting a bit of sunshine. I mean,
yeah, I could. Except the only thing is there would only be actually 20 people touching buttons. There'd be 10 people over on the side staring at a tree. And the other 10, 5 people would be, they have their phone in their hand, but they'd probably be looking at cat videos or something like that. And some other people over in the bathroom because, they had to take a bio break and just walked away from their phones. Right. So
exactly. Left it on alt attack or something like that. It's nuts that we'd solve the vitamin D problem of the generation.
There you go.
I mean, Pokemon Go did kind of do that for a little bit when it first came out. Like hundreds of people in like Central Park in New York City, all like searching for Charizard.
That was amazing.
Crazy. Absolutely insane.
It's yeah. All right. Enough about Sunshine though. Let's actually get into the subject analysis and talk about SquadOV.
I'm gonna light you up, sweet cheeks.
Oh yeah. Let's do this. So SquadOV, I have to ask, this seems like an amazing brainchild. Like Mike, what made you decide I'm going to take basically Twitch clips and Warcraft logs and mesh it together into a searchable database that you can just like share with your friends?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the initial motivation was from playing Valorant. I was playing with a group of friends, we were losing, and, we know that you have to like review your own footage to get better, right? And then, but I wasn't about to go sit down and watch through like 5 hours of YouTube video to, improve my gameplay. So I was like, screw it, I'll write something myself to like organize all this video for me, pull data from like different sources and kind of merge that with the video so that I can find, round 1, round 2 when I got kills sort of deal. And it just kind of snowballed from there where it's like, oh, well, what else can we do this for? Hearthstone, World of Warcraft. And World of Warcraft was kind of when like SquadOV kind of had an inflection point in like our like sort of interest from users. And and that's been growing ever since we introduced the WoW to SquadOV. And then so that's kind of how it all kind of started. This kind of idea that data should be merged with video, gaming video in particular. And WoW just has a great combat log, and we just leveraged it.
Nice. And I mean, it makes sense because unless your UI is set up where you're like seeing the button or whatever ability is being pressed at the time, and you don't know what the other people are playing or touching until you look back at the combat log. So it makes sense to sync it all together and make it all line up, which is awesome. Sorry. So
Exactly.
So it's World of Warcraft, it's Valorant, it's Hearthstone, it's what are all the rest of what platforms are you?
There's also
covering?
League of Legends, Teamfight Tactics, Counter-Strike, and AimLab. So honestly,
Okay.
it was just like went through a list of games that I have played in the past and just integrated all of them in whatever way I can. And
Okay.
hopefully more games in the future. But each game is quite a bit of work, actually.
Yeah, I can imagine. And somebody's already asking in chat if Overwatch is ever going to get added. So
Blizzard is a bit touchy with Overwatch. They have banned apps similar in concepts before,
okay.
but they're also their data API for Overwatch is much worse than what they have for like World of Warcraft and Hearthstone, which
Huh.
is unfortunate. So it's just like it's much harder to actually implement for Overwatch. I have looked into it.
Well, at least you've looked into it, so that's it's not being completely missed out on yet. All right. Well, I guess okay. So how does it? So I went to we went to the website. There, yeah, you can make an account onto the website, or I think you can just search into it if you don't have an account. But having an account kind of helps, right? But you can look into there's people with VODs. You can look at their stuff and what they're doing and that. But then it's also like you have to download an app onto the computer. So what's kind of how does this all work? Like, do I need to have that thing on my computer in order to record, or like, all right, tell me.
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty simple. It's if you just want to watch other people's videos and you're like your friends' VODs, all you got to do is, go to the website, register there, sign in there, and then get invited to the same squad as them. And you can watch all the videos on our website. All the same functionality is on our website as a desktop app. The desktop app is mainly there for if you actually want to do recording yourself. We are pretty much a replacement for, pick your favorite screen recorder here. And we just do all that stuff automatically for you in the background, so you don't have to worry about pressing F8 to start recording or like recording a clip. And yeah, so the desktop app just kind of streams all the videos to our servers along with your combat log. We kind of stitch together all the information from you and your friends, and then present to you a match at the end where you can switch perspectives between you and your friends, see what your friend played, see what spells they cast, what your sort of damage timeline looks like, and navigate the video using all that information.
Nice. I feel like now I have to, like, every time we go into LFG, not only tell people to join me on Discord, but also join my squad so that I can mesh all the videos together.
Yes, we start requiring SquadOV in Group Finder, and that'd be weird but amusing to a certain point. Is like link me your SquadOV profile, or you can't join the group.
Right.
I actually have a question. Since you initially said that you were looking to review your own VODs as a way to improve, so over the past few years, I think there's kind of been an explosion of ways in which you can improve in games. I think services like Twitch have really accelerated the pace at which people are able to learn games. Accompanying that is YouTube. Where do you really see the role of SquadOV in helping players improve their own gameplay?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that reviewing your own gameplay and reviewing your own videos is an essential part of just getting better at anything, right? The same applies for if you play like traditional sports, like play basketball, football, swimming, whatever. Like you need to review footage, or else you don't actually know what mistakes you made. You just kind of have an inkling or a thought about what you actually did. But with like video, there's like irrefutable proof, right, of what you did and what you didn't do, of what comms you made, what comms you didn't make. And so our sort of niche is that in that video review sort of to improve sector, whereas like stuff like YouTube content is like those are more things like content to watch to learn more about the game, while video review is more so about how do you get better, like based off of like the mistakes that you made and how do you improve from there. And I think that the sort of the other aspect of this is like, there's other apps out there that just kind of analyze your data for you and like give you basic tips on how to improve. But ultimately, at the end of the day, those things are going to be very generic advice. Like For like League of Legends, it tells you to like CS better, but it doesn't really pinpoint to you when you actually made that mistake. But for or for SquadOV, you can just go back to the moment in the video where you made that mistake, so you actually have a better idea how you can improve in the future. That's kind of how I think about it.
Very cool.
Mm. It's great actually, because I mean I've used it myself quite a lot, mostly when I was trying to improve last season, and obviously this season, where making a squad with my mates, they can obviously have a look in, and keep an eye on what I'm doing and how I'm doing, and we can kind of review each other's and sort of help out as a group. We can almost have a look at an arena game from 3 different point of views, which just kind of gives you that 360, almost kind of like multi angle of kind of analyzing where you've gone wrong, and I really like that. So that's for me. I think look is the bit that I've really enjoyed, that kind of multi angle aspect of just analyzing your gameplay, which I think is great. You can't really get that from just recording your own games.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of the main draws to the program, and then super glad that you like that. I'm actually curious though, like before like we kind of existed, like what kind of stuff did you use to try to get better at arenas?
Well, to be honest, for me personally, I've always recorded my games. So I've been doing YouTube content creation since MOP. So that's what 2012.
10 years ago,
A
jeez.
long time ago, 10 years.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. So I mean, on and off. So I've always recorded my games, whether that was Fraps or OBS, and I would only see myself. And obviously I've got quite a strong memory, so I will remember my games, and I'll kind of look back at them and be like, oh, I clearly haven't done anything wrong. But when I look at my teammates' point of view, I get a whole different side of it. And obviously that would be what I'm basically using. I'm just using what I had, which was essentially my own point of view. And I don't think just looking from your own point of view, especially in a multifaceted game like WoW, can really truly give you the complete angle, because you're still only looking from a very focused, narrow point of view. So that's why I quite liked from the season and last season, I guess.
And just out of curiosity, Mike, do you think that SquadOV has like enormous potential for esports teams? Like, I assume every esports team does some form of VOD review. Do you think SquadOV kind of fills that role of being able to kind of analyze games as a team? I guess, I mean, that's the design, but do you think it applies directly to esports organizations? Is this a useful tool for them?
Yeah, I think that it would be a very useful tool for esports orgs, especially as like the esports scenes matures, right? Right now it's very much still a bunch of young guys straight out of high school who are good at the game and are thrown together to play video games, right? So sort of the video review to improve infrastructure still isn't quite there, like it is with traditional sports. But I think that as that continues to grow, as esports continues to become bigger and more, organized, video review and SquadOV will be right there to kind of, push esports to the next level. And we're in the talks with some teams right now to try and, help them with doing video review using SquadOV. So I think there's enormous potential in this space. Not just for gamers like ourselves, but also for the pros as well.
Nice. I have to ask,
love
is because I'm sure there's some teams where it's like, well, we want to improve gameplay, but we're trying to do strategies we don't necessarily want people to see until it's game time, right? They don't, maybe they're trying to do some stuff. Is there a way to play with your teammates and record without it necessarily being open then to anybody to see on the website?
Actually, I mean, sort of like this whole idea of like privacy and stuff is very much built into the app, because our videos are only shared with the people in your squad, and we have pretty decent controls on like what gets shared with what squad, and so all that's controllable in the app, which makes it so if you only want to share your World of Warcraft videos with this squad, and then you can share the rest of your other games with like whoever, right? And all that's controllable, and we're looking to make that much more granular in the future. Like I only want to share WoW arenas on this character with this squad. All that stuff is in the pipeline.
Nice.
And hope to release at some point.
Nice. I look forward to only ever seeing Bigmoran's druid play and not ever having to see him play a holy priest. Just saying.
I'm actually pretty good at Holy Priest. I'm having a
Dude, you just said
Okay,
all you
so-
do is chastise and mind games, and you win. Like
that's all I need to do. That's Holy Priest. How should I? That's my job. I'm doing my job correctly.
So that's the guide, yeah. So Bigmoran's Holy Priest guide coming out soon. It's chastise, mind games. That's it.
Yeah, pack it up. We're going home.
chastise, mind
Serenity
games,
is good.
profit.
Exactly.
Oh boy! All right. I have to ask everybody. Everybody always asks social integration. Like how can I take what I've done onto, because like, I have to be a squad. I have to. You're saying I have to only my teammates or the people I've squatted up with on the website or in the app. They only get to see my stuff. Is there any way like I can take this and then post it up? I'm like, oh man, that clip was awesome. I want to share this. Yo, people, check this out. Like, how do I do that?
Yeah, I mean the easiest way, is obviously just kind of have everyone in the same squad, because then the sharing is done automatically. But if you want to share the Reddit, share on Discord, you can always click the big blue share button in SquadOV, copy the URL, and just share the URL with people, and they'll be able to see everything that you see.
Nice.
If you want, you can share a timestamp as well, and you also get a nice little video preview in Discord. So yeah, cool. It's we've built it for sharing, right? We want to help people, improve together as as a team, as just communities that's based around video, because we think there's so much potential here, right? With making the whole video review and like just video in general like a much more social process, because right now it's very much more individual, unless you're like Pokimane or Asmongold.
I don't share any bathwater. I guess neither does Asmongold because he doesn't shower apparently. But okay, so I guess I was a little confused there. So you're saying that because at first you're saying that you had to sign up, make an account, and then join a squad, and then you could see the squad videos. But now you're saying I can so long as I share that openly, then people can then go and see it. They don't have to necessarily log in and join my squad then. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You have the option to share it publicly. It's not public by default, but if you want to make it public and share it to other people, who am I to tell you that you can't? So we have the option to do that.
And that is a business model,
True.
Look at Facebook.
Yeah, but my standards are hopefully to be a little bit better than Facebook and some of the big tech companies nowadays.
Double thumbs up there.
Yeah, and then in the future, the plan is to go mobile as well, so that you can watch videos on the go. Nice. And then from there being able to share it to like your social media apps, whatever is trendy these days, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. And yeah, so we plan to make it super easy to share. That's kind of like the one of the core purposes of SquadOV. So if you have a avenue that you want to share your video with, I want to support it as well.
Nice. I appreciate that. Now, really important. So I know like we kind of started off here. Big, he loves to play arenas. Jake loves to play arenas. I'm more like a battleground or doing mythic dungeons or something like that. Like, so I have to admit, I've been hesitant to install this because I didn't want to have it on my computer and then not do anything because I wasn't doing arenas. So does it still work on that? Like,
yeah, actually we support pretty much everything in World of Warcraft retail to some degree of functionality. Okay. Battlegrounds works, doing keystones works, raiding works. So pretty much any instance gameplay works in SquadOV, and if it doesn't, I'm always around in Discord. I can probably figure it out. Nice. Pretty much at the end of the day, anything that gets combat logged will to some degree work with SquadOV. Okay. And yeah, it
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much all there is to it.
Very cool. All right, I'm gonna go download it now. Wait, actually, I'll wait until after we're done recording. I don't want to. My interest being a little flaky tonight, so I don't want to mess up the stream anymore. Jake, Big, I know you guys have a bunch of other questions. I'll throw it. Jake, how about you? Do you have any other questions for Mike here? Pick his brain about SquadOV.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about League of Legends and everything like that. I know we talked about Overwatch and everything like that. What do you have any other plans for games? I know we touched on this ever so slightly. Like, what other games did you have in mind for SquadOV?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I want to support every game under the sun. But for the foreseeable future, like my plans are Final Fantasy 14, Dota 2, and Rocket League. And I think I missed something, but can't remember off the top of my head. But generally, those are like the big ones, right? We want to support most of the popular games nowadays with a lot of users, and we have a particular we particularly like MMOs. Generally, MMO players are much I don't want to say better, but I do kind of mean better users for us. Generally, the use case lines up really well for people who do arenas and PvP or PvE content. So supporting MMOs, is a big path forward for us. So Final Fantasy 14 and Lost Ark eventually as well.
That sounds amazing. And I'm just popped into my head actually when I was thinking about it. Are you going to be, for stuff like Xbox or PS5 or those kind of console games, do you think there's ever a future for SquadOV there as well, linking that up?
I would love to, honestly, and this is a question I get in a ton of my investor meetings. Is like, oh, are you gonna ever support like Xbox, PlayStation? And the idea, the hope is yes, right? But that's probably more of like a 5-7 year plan rather than like a 1 to 2 year plan. Because there's so much more involved in getting onto one of those platforms than just everyone with Windows can download your app sort of deal.
Well, I suppose what would be I don't know, like the best ideal situation for that is if, Sony or Microsoft came along and was like, hey, why don't we build in SquadOV as an app into our system so that, on any competitive game, when you go into like an instance, sort of like whether it's like Apex or whatever, Halo, when you go into a sort of like multiplayer lobby and you're playing against other people, you can save those games and rewatch them using the HUD of the actual console. I don't know, that sounds like something really cool to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the dream, right? Being able to partner with all these big players in the space, like have like native Xbox integration integrated with like Unreal Engine, and like any Unreal Engine game can like use SquadOV to kind of develop like video recording and stuff like that into the game itself very natively. I think those would be like long-term vision plans. But for now, we're happy to just support the hardcore PC players who play the games that I play. So we'll get there.
PC Master Race,
Amazing.
anyways, right?
Oh, yes. Am I allowed to say that? Will I get canceled? But yes, I mean, I've been a PC gamer all my life, so that's where my heart is. So, I made this app for myself, so I'm going to support my own use cases first, and then depending on who pays me, I'll support them later.
Nice. I guess a quick question, because talking about platforms, does this work on like Apple products? Like, if I have an Apple computer or if I'm running Linux or something like that, does it have to be only Windows?
It's only Windows right now.
Okay.
Theoretically, it'd be like a hop and a skip away from supporting Mac and Linux. We actually have a guy who comes into our Discord every month and say, "Hey, is there Mac support yet?" But I always have to tell him no because I just don't have the time to work on that.
Wah, wah.
Do you guys play on Windows, right? You guys aren't like Mac players or anything, right?
Definitely Windows. Playing WoW on an Apple product is like, I don't know, sort of like playing in, I don't know, sort of 1987 computers, something like that. Feels
Is
very
WoW
strange.
native on Mac? Because I know Hearthstone is native on Mac, but I'm not sure about like their other games.
I don't know. The answer to that is I don't know. Does anyone else know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it has native Mac support. So
Okay.
usually,
assume so.
sometimes on the PTR, it gets a little funky, especially when they do like the major expansions. So I'm assuming like when 10.0 rolls around in PTR, it'll probably be Windows first and then Mac. But yeah, he usually has both. So, and then usually when it comes to like doing Linux or something like that, somebody has to do some pretty fun stuff on their computer to get it to work, but it gets there. So, I actually remember doing that back in college. I was trying to, I was doing a course for a while, and I was trying to figure out how to get World of Warcraft to run on Wine on Red Hat Linux.
Oh, that sounds fun.
The fun part is that I did that, and I convinced my instructor, and then by doing so, I was allowed to install World of Warcraft onto the lab computers and then try to play it during lab time. So,
best of both worlds.
Well, the big question is, did it work?
No. No. No, I wasn't. I wasn't able to get it to work, unfortunately. But I did find out some pretty interesting thing about network traffic during the same time. So, but we're not going to go there. Anyway, on that, I guess. So I want to talk quickly. We were talking offline quickly before we started this whole thing, and I know Big, you were mentioning this about the search patterns and all that, and I think like there's like a news blog you just put up there, Mike, about some like you like took the whole database and transitioned it over to another what's it, Elasticsearch or something like that. Like,
yep.
What was that all about? What was that?
Yeah. So I mean, you know, I talk more about this in my blog post, but the kind of the short version of it is that I was hammering my database with all these requests, like, you know, display your most recent VODs that you have access to. Mm-hmm. And it was a super complex query. I thought about, you know, showing that query in the blog post, but I decided against it. Mm-hmm. But it was doing a ton of stuff. It was like, you know, we had to search through like around 10 million videos plus clips, you know, figure out which one matches like the user's query, and then, you know, display all that information about that clip, the video, as well as the match data back to the user, right? And yeah, that was just destroying my database. And, you know, about a week and a half ago, you know, things came to a breaking point. All my databases, my database went down, all my servers went down, and I was like, all my technical debt has come up to catch up to me. And so yeah, at that point, I started like a 1-week process to switch it to Elasticsearch. And I think the results have been pretty good. I mean, previously the search times would probably be like 20-25 seconds for like some of the people in like some of our larger squads, like the skill cap squads, or you know, our Valorant squad, public squads. And nowadays, you know, probably most of those search results come back within a second, if not less. So
wow,
great success, I would say. And you know, there's really, you know, given that we're so focused on, you know, helping gamers find the right games, you know, whether it's, you know, you want to search on, you know, POV, whether you want to search on like arena rating and stuff like that, I think this just makes the experience that much better for everyone.
Nice.
And I think that it was Big who was talking about how he uses it, you know, for his skill cap stuff, and, you know, happy that you know, our search functionality makes it that much better.
Nice. I have that. So let's get technical then. Let's get right into this a little bit, because I'm really curious. How does that work? Like, so like you have VODs, you have data. There's a bunch of data, like and it's all up on servers. You got some databases linking it all together, I'm guessing. Like how does that even work, man? Like
that is a big question. I mean, at the end of the day, right, we have, you know, kind of the server that fields every request from our client. You know, when you start a match, it tells, you know, our servers that, oh, I'm starting a match, I'm starting a video, and then our server comes back to you like, okay, this is your match ID, this is your video ID, you upload your videos here, and that is an S3 bucket for us. And then once that's all done, you know, you kind of upload all that data to our servers, and then we kind of parse it into our database and store it there. And then when you go back to, you know, request a particular match ID, you know, we just pull out the data and send it back to you. And it's just The technical aspects of it is actually pretty simple. The sort of tricky part of all of this is getting it to scale, right? We're only a year old. We have about like 17,000 people who use us every month, but even then, like our database at this point is about like 40 terabytes large, and we have like 2 petabytes of video stored. Uh, Everything's getting very big and very costly very fast.
Yeah. And this is free right now.
It is free. Yeah, completely free. 1080p, 60 FPS videos stored forever. Get it while it lasts, because that's gonna change soon.
Yeah. I can okay, I gotta ask then. So what's the future looking like here? Like, is it going to be an OnlyFans like Patreon only, or like I keep going back to OnlyFans. It's my go-to joke, but like, is it going to be like free, but you get like what, like 360 30 FPS, and if you want 1080p, you have to pay. Like, what are people going to be looking at? What's the thoughts there?
So this is kind of something that I'm like, still working through, and I really want to, have our monetization model be super fair to our community and make it so that, it's not super necessary for you to pay, but, if you just want that extra, pack of features, then the paid options are there for you.
Okay.
But generally, what we're looking at is kind of like a Dropbox model, where for free you get like 720p 30 FPS videos, and then stored for like 14 days or something like that. And as you go up the subscription tiers, we store the video for longer, you get higher quality video, sort of deal. But I'm super open to different ways to monetize this. I'm curious, like what would you guys like in a perfect world, like aside from being free, like what would like monetization for a program like SquadOV be like in a sweet spot for you guys?
I think around like I think like around $5 a month, I think for me would seem a bit fair. I know, monetization's always kind of a tricky, there's always a sweet spot, but I think 5 personally would be around what I would want for a service like that.
Do you think something along the lines of, give us, not donate, but like choose your own tariff? Like it has to be like a minimum of a set amount, but do more or like a lower number, and maybe I don't know. Would that be something that would work? I mean, I agree with Big. Actually, five is a good amount, but I'm wondering, sort of like, let's say something, if it being free at the minute, would like what $1 or one pound or whatever you choose, be like the minimum you can go for, and then if people want to do more, they could do, and then you kind of like mix and match the disparity, because some people may want to give you more, some people may want to just stick to that, and maybe that gives you a greater access to people, and then over time, as things complicate more or things get bigger, would that then increase? I don't know. That would is that some that would be in my head something that might work, but I think
That would definitely be cool. It's just much trickier to do. Speaking from like a business perspective, um, you know, you want like a very predictable amount of money coming in so that you can kind of forecast it and project it out into the future. And then once you get into like, well, one guy's paying $1 for this and another guy's paying like $2 for the same feature set, then it's like, well, maybe it's only worth $1. It's tough. Monetization is one of those really tricky topics because so much of the internet nowadays is just free, right? Like you have YouTube that's free, Twitch is free. So much stuff is free, but it's like, is that really the best monetization model for the internet? I would say no, but it is kind of the world we live in, right? So have to strike the right balance there, because our sort of purpose is not for you to become like the next like big content creator on SquadOV. Our purpose is for you and your friends, your communities to get better using video. And unfortunately, that just doesn't really lend itself to the whole donate, subscribe sort of model. So we have to monetize using more traditional methods, and so we have to go for like that sort of monthly subscription.
Yeah,
that does make sense. Yeah. It's interesting actually, because although YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that is technically free, technically what you're offering up as a sacrifice is your time, because you're forced to watch ads.
Yep.
And you lose seconds that add up. I don't know. I must have lost like hours of my life just sitting there being forced to watch like a 24-second ad.
Yeah, I mean, it's your time and your data, right? Like, they're selling that, aggregate data to advertisers, and I could go down that path, but it's not something I particularly want to do. And it's also like, the only reason it's worthwhile to like YouTube to do that is because they get like millions and millions of views on those videos, right? But if it's just you and your friends, right? Like that honestly, like, no offense to like anyone's friend groups, but your friend group isn't worth that much to advertisers. So
Yeah.
Me and my 3 friends. Come on, we're like superstars.
Me, Steve, and Billy. We know everybody.
Yep.
Come on, Billy, watch your video
monetization-
again. We need to get another month free.
Yeah.
It's like when you're a musician and you release something on Spotify and you tell all your friends like put it on loop just so you can get like 1/6 of a pence or like a penny or like a
Right.
cent to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. It's so hard being a content creator or even a developer and everything, and especially like you said, in today's world where so many things are free, and to then try and monetize is so difficult. I guess.
Yeah, it's always tough. And
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, like, what's it like? I mean, this is literally a startup. Like, you took something which was a idea for yourself, and then turned it into trying to monetize and business model it and everything like that. Like, what's that like? What was that like, man?
Oh, it's I so kind of like personal background about me. I was in the Bay Area in California for 8 years. So when you're there, like you always hear stories, right? It's like, oh, my friend raised like $2 million for this shitty social media idea. Like another like friend raised $1.5 million for some shitty chat app idea. And you start thinking like maybe I can do this too. All these ideas are garbage. I can raise my own money, do my own app. So that's kind of like part of the origins of SquadOV. But it's been much harder than that. Raising money is surprisingly hard, and all this business stuff is very new to me. I'm a computer science person by trade. So thinking about monetization, thinking about like how do we activate users, how do we retain users, how do we get users to keep on being engaged with the app. All that stuff is new to me, and it's been hard, but also pretty enjoyable. Trying to figure that stuff out. But yeah, there's so much to like the business side of doing something like this that so many people don't realize that. There's just so much under the hood besides just like the sort of like the response times and like the videos that you see on the screen.
Wow, I can only imagine. That's interesting though. Like you could probably almost like, honestly, it whether SquadOV fails or succeeds, you could probably just write a book on your experiences even, and I'm sure
Probably a little bit too much, but a blog post maybe. Go
you
back
sure
to
not a little novella of your
Start a Twitter thread. 1 out of 10 at the very end. It's like arrow pointing down below.
Exactly.
I thought Twitter I thought everybody's leaving Twitter now though. I thought that was isn't that the new thing?
Elon Musk owning Twitter?
Yeah, Elon Musk is going to buy Twitter, so everybody's leaving it now. Is that
I mean
yeah.
People say things. They never do it though.
Exactly. I mean, hopefully Elon Musk will turn around and buy SquadOV.
Hey, like being in the WoW community for gosh, how many years now? I can't tell you how many times I've heard like, "Oh, this is the WoW killer. This is people are gonna quit the game over this," and it just never happens.
We're so jaded, actually, when it comes to that sort of thing. It's sort of like, oh, it's another Twitter killer, WoW killer, whatever. It's okay. You'll come back because we understand addiction.
I think the funniest thing I saw actually on Twitter wasn't people like canceling Twitter or anything. It was a person who had changed their name to Elon Musk in their picture, so it actually showed Elon. Obviously, the handle wasn't Elon, and they said, "All right, now I'm gonna buy World of Warcraft and get rid of these new PvP trinkets." So
They need to do that.
Yes.
All right. All right. It was funny when I read it. Maybe it's all about the
No, it's
delivery. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess. Sorry, I'm at a loss right now. Big TreesapJake. Either of you have any other thing you want to ask Mike
Yeah,
about SquadOV?
I actually do, because I mean I don't really know too much about development, and I don't claim to know anything about it, but I'm assuming you have kind of some huge, massive ambition, maybe for SquadOV, that would take a lot of time or a lot of money, and might just be a dream at this point. But do you have any of those ambitions, or do you have anything that, if you had infinite time and money, what would you want SquadOV to be able to do?
Yeah, I mean, if I had infinite time and money, that would be a dream come true. But the ultimately, what we're trying to do, right, is making this sort of um, a better social experience for gamers that's based around video, right? We play video games, right, and then the main way of sort of interacting with video games outside of the game itself is through video. And honestly, today that's only really for the big content creators out there, right? If you're not a big content creator, you just don't have that time or money to kind of deal with video yourself. So we can just make that process easy, make that process social, and just kind of build on top of that. Just like how do we, what do people want to do with the video? They want to improve. Okay, how do we kind of build all these feature sets around that to help people improve better using video? Or they want to share cool moments with friends. All right, how do we build feature sets to make cooler moments, make it easier to share those moments and stuff like that, and just kind of building from there, expanding the user base, expanding the game support. And that would be a dream come true, and one day be as big as Discord sort of deal. That's like kind of my dream. And kind of how I think about where we stand like 5, 10, 15 years down the road, assuming we're still alive then. And yeah, that's kind of like what I'm thinking about SquadOV currently. But as always, I'm always sort of head to the ground, sort of in my Discord, seeing like what users are using it for, what users want, what users are asking for. And if things change, things change. I'm not sort of married to any sort of long-term plan.
Cool.
Which brings me to a question though. I would love to kind of hear about like what you guys would love to see in like SquadOV. Like, what do you need as like super avid like PvP players? Like, what could I do to make it SquadOV an even better experience for you?
Actually, you can go first, Jake.
Oh no, I go first all the time. After you, I insist. I'll do the very British.
So, I play a lot of Super Smash Bros. Melee, and what's kind of nice, and this is kind of a throwback to StarCraft, well, is that game like replay files can be saved on very, very small files, like essentially text documents, where you have a replay file, you plug it into the game, and it's only a few bytes of data, and it doesn't take that much space on your computer, and you can essentially replay the game. Obviously, Blizzard hasn't given that direct support for World of Warcraft. I think that would be the most amazing thing, is if you could somehow save a replay file that could only be a few bytes of data, and the game could replay it itself. But is there any do you have any ways in which you can minimize the amount of, I guess, upload, or the amount of data that is needed to replay a file? Is that something you kind of want to pursue if that became available from a Blizzard, like from something that Blizzard would internally create?
I think in an ideal world, this would be something I would work with game developers sort of like one-on-one with to develop. I have tossed ideas around in my head of using some sort of machine learning to kind of sort of condense that video down into something more, much smaller, much more compressed. But those are more so ideas currently than concrete plans. But it would be something like I do definitely, feel for the whole, replay files being that much smaller and being much more sort of portable in that way. But the flip side of that is that, the reason that those replay files can be so small is because you're also downloading like a 10 gigabyte plus game on top of it. So there's trade-offs.
Yeah.
Nice.
In a perfect world, I would. This is like the dream thing, but I'd love it where, from the multiple point of views, if when that was all uploaded, if you could amalgamate into like a VR room, so I'm not just stuck to my point of view or my friend's point of view, but from that it can extrapolate the whole room, so I could actually do like room swivel, so I could take a look, like go back over to, see what the enemy healer is doing and stand over there while I watch what my character was doing and kind of see it from that other point of view. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be super cool actually. And given the fact, we are recording from so many points of views, it might be actually possible. I'm not promising anything, but I'll look into it.
That would be insane, actually. I think I've got a friend that just bought like a VR headset, and he was like, you can make yourself a virtual office.
Mm-hmm.
And that obviously the technology exists kind of there to, what is it called, like almost metaverse. You could, if you could do that for WoW Arena, where you kind of like put on the goggles and then you can kind of like observe and like move with your hands, like everything, and kind of get those sort of, that sort of like almost, it's sort of built up from those multiple of point of views. That'd be, oh my god, that's just that's insane.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's kind of like those like football replays where like you kind of see like the camera pans like a different point of view, and then like the video replays. We could probably do something similar to that, because it is just a matter of how do we go between all these different views that we do have and recreate a 3D world. Definitely possible to some degree.
Yeah, I'm sure that would take some serious AI though to put that all together.
Oh yeah, for sure. It'd be a lot of development work, but it'd be fun. I actually very much miss like some of these more intellectually challenging stuff rather than just pure engineering, because my background is actually I have a PhD in computer science, so that's kind of my bread and butter. So we'll love to do more cool tech when I have the time.
Wait, yeah. Again, back to that T word.
Yeah. Time and
Jake,
money.
Jake, I want to ask you though, because you, like you said, you've been using this already with your friends, trying to improve gameplay. What's your answer though? What's what could be different about SquadOV?
I was going to say, as sort of as a meme, first of all, I was going to be like, basically, whenever I access my VODs, that there's Mike's voice going, "Good job," like, or like, you could do better. It's a kind of meme, but actually, it kind of made me think that wouldn't it be amazing if in your squad, that if you watched over your, I don't know, I haven't tried anything, so correct me if you can already do this, but I'm not sure if you can. But if I'm able to, over my friend's VOD, whilst I watch it, leave voice notes for him to kind of like, if he goes back over it and goes, it's sort of like he kind of, it's just my voice going like, "Hey, bro, like at this point, I think you should be standing on the other side of the pillar." Or like, at this point, maybe it should have been your kick instead of mine, kind of stuff like that. So you can listen to it and be like, "Oh, okay, like that's my teammate's point of view." And he could do the same thing for my VODs. And so when, like it gives, I don't know, like maybe like a notification is like, your teammate has left you a voice note. And you kind of go in and you have a look and he goes like, "Hey man, this was a great game," or whatever. That for me would be insane, because it would be a way, like, I don't know, if everyone's busy with work or you haven't really got that much time, but your mate's got a day off or whatever, he can kind of have a look through and kind of give pointers or something like that. I mean, even that would be really helpful if, you've got a mate that's even just a lot better than you. You go like, "Bro, can you just have a look at some of my VODs, some of the games that I've played recently, and let me know what you think should work," instead of having to go to Discord and look up this giant text message or whatever for feedback or something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that you mentioned that, because that is sort of like the next step, right? How do we bring back like all these other things that you would otherwise use Discord for currently back into the app itself, like being able to, leave comments, messages for each other in the app, whether it's text, whether it's voice. I think that would be, step one. Step two is like, how do you like sort of request like this help from either your friends or from other people in the community, and maybe like one day like requesting that help from pros and stuff as well, just within the app really easily and stuff like that. I think that those are all things that we want to pursue. Is like, how do we make improvement social? Like it is such a social activity, right? Because every multiplayer game nowadays, competitive game, is multiplayer. And then so it's natural that improvements to be social as well. And then so that's kind of what we're building for, and we want to like have a really robust feature set to support all that stuff as well.
That's amazing. I mean, I suppose it reminds me. I mean, we used to do watch parties back. I don't know, this was like 3 or 4 years ago, where we'd all like, I don't know, watch a movie together or like watch like a YouTube video together. But we're all sat in Discord and it's all playing at the same time. I mean, having a feature like that, even where you could just sit in the same like call as mates and the video stops and pauses for everyone at the same time, would even facilitate that without even having to leave voice notes. You could just all be there and look it over.
Yeah, I mean that's like step two actually. I have a list where it's like, well, the social features like commenting, leaving voice notes, and then step two, live review sessions / watch parties where instead of you have to like share your screen on Discord or something, right? You just we just sync all that stuff in the background, so you're all watching the same thing. You could still be in a Discord voice call, for chatting, or we could have all that stuff within the app as well. And just slowly take some market share away from Discord in our path to become the dominant video review and video improvement app.
Exactly. No, that sounds great. That honestly, those would be ideal for me. So
that's good to know. I will note that very heavily.
Good. Just put a big old tick there, and you say like Jake requested this, and you just like.
We do actually have a little label, a tag that's labeled partnerships, where it's like, oh, someone important requested this, so we should put more thought into that one.
Well, if you can put VIP next to my name, I'll just sit back and take that.
Too funny. Well, normally we would do one thing you would change, but I think we just nailed that with those two different topics. So I guess I don't know if I asked in chat if there was any other if there's anything else anybody wanted to know or ask, but nobody's taken us up on that. So I guess I'll throw this back to you, Mike. I guess if anybody's listening right now and they're like, I wish they'd asked this one question of Mike, where would they go to ask you? What's a good spot?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super accessible. You go to squadov.gg. You can log in, register, make an account, or you can just join our Discord. I'm always in our Discord. Feel free to, just pop in there, message me, say hello, and ask me any question you want. I'm generally around as long as I'm awake. And happy to answer any questions that we might not have gone over in this podcast.
Cool. I appreciate that. And so you guys also have a Twitter. I mean, assuming that Twitter's not going to go away now, there's that. I guess, is there any other places on social media?
We have a Twitter. We have an Instagram.
Okay.
Twitter and Instagram we have. Admittedly, I don't really post much there. So if you want to interact with me, go to Discord. That's your best bet for getting in contact with me.
I understand. And I will just plug.
Social media is a work in progress.
For most people, I'd say for over on YouTube though, I saw that there was a few learning videos in that. Is there any intent to get some more stuff up on YouTube there, just to help people to do stuff?
Eventually, okay. Once I have a bigger team, some more money, we'll get all those things going. But in the meantime, please come to Discord.
Roger. All right.
I've just noticed in your Discord, Revlon is early access. I've just noticed that Revlon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we have a bunch of content creators that we work with. We worked with Revlon back in the day. Right now we're partnered with AppSurge on Twitch. So if you go to his stream right now, you'll see a little SquadOV chat command. So we love the WoW community. We are well in touch with the names in the WoW community.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Well, I guess on that, I have to say thank you. It was a pleasure helping advertise on the last episode that we did. You helped sponsor that, and we look forward to working with you in the future as well. But hopefully everybody's listening actually enjoyed this, and trust us, go give the SquadOV a quick try. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah, check out SquadOV, and of course, I always love to hear how SquadOV can be better for everyone who uses it. So please swing by in Discord, say hello, and give me your feedback. We'd love to hear it.
Awesome. All right. On that, I'm gonna just take a minute. Live stream, stand by. We're just gonna do some stuff. All right. So I got all the tracks, so we're good. So I'm going to start a new recording. All right. And we are good. All right. Can everybody still see us on stream? Stream check 1, 2, 3. Let us know in chat. I think so. Just waiting for people to verify in chat that they can see us. We should be good, but I never want to assume. Started recording again in Zencaster, so we're good. Oh, yeah, we got, okay, awesome. Thank you very much, guys. All right. Hey, thank you again. We're good. We're going. All right. Okay, cool. On to, I have to admit, that was an amazing conversation with Mike. I really appreciate him taking the time for that.
It was really insightful, actually, because I feel like we're kind of like having, and obviously SquadOV has done a lot, but it's so awesome to see just like it's sort of at its steps of becoming maybe a giant in the future. That'd be so incredible to see.
Yeah.
And yeah, and actually, I was thinking about this, and I hate to use the C word, but it's an amazing resource for coaching. Like if you wanted to like legitimately, coach someone, you have all this material that you can just work with instantly, and I think just that's fantastic for that sort of service. I know coaching kind of gets a bad rap in the WoW community, but in other games and other communities, I think there's a culture of paying a coach and analyzing VODs and getting feedback, and I think that sort of stuff the SquadOV really facilitates or would facilitate that sort of interaction very well. I mean, even you can even coach yourself by just doing VOD reviews. So I think it really again fits into this learning experience that is kind of difficult to know how to do by yourself. But anyway, I think it's really cool service.
Mm-hmm. I think it's an amazing service. I think that's, yeah. Maybe we'll have to message Mike again afterwards and maybe suggest that whole coaching thing. I feel like that's a worthy angle.
I was kind of leaning on that with the whole leaving voice notes and
yeah.
Stuff. I didn't want to say it.
Exactly, right? Like, don't say coaching. But it'd be amazing for coaching, like legitimate coaching.
Yeah. And when you said it, I was like, I didn't want to say it, just in case, they think we're big time coaches or whatever. But it's like, it is true. Like, it is just such a useful tool for that sort of thing, just improvement in general. So whoever that comes from, whether it's yourself or others.
Every time I talk about coaching, I have a feeling I'm gonna like turn around and there's gonna be some guy from Reddit with like a dart gun who's gonna like poke me in the neck if I ever mention that coaching is good and well. Like, I'm gonna be assassinated or something. Like, who knows if I'm gonna be poisoned.
There's gonna be a Reddit post. It's sort of like Bigmoran, terrible for WoW community, big booster coaching.
Yes, jeez Louise. Scared.
All right. Okay, let's leave the coaching behind. We'll go into WoW PvP events and talk about what is. Let's talk about what's happening instead of what has happened.
Get in there and fight! Stop hiding!
All right, let's get in there and fight. So, what's going on in the future here? What's coming up in the next few weeks? Oh, Big. How about you? You take it this time.
Yeah, so it looks like Dalaran Gaming is continuing to host 5v5 1v1 duels, and it's really amazing experience to watch those streams. I highly recommend if you haven't seen that before, definitely check it out. Follow Dalaran Gaming at twitter.com/Dalaran_rogue. Really amazing stuff. He also uploads to YouTube constantly. If you happen to miss a stream, they'll have little clip segments from all of his dueling tournaments there, and so that's just really fun to watch. On top of that, it looks like Barndor is going to be hosting a 1v1 dueling tournament on April 30th. Of course, Barndor was a guest on this podcast, I think a few months ago. I've lost track of time, but you can find more information about that at twitter.com/barndoor11. But it looks like there is going to be some prize money awarded in this 1v1 dueling tournament.
Yep.
Again, if you have any questions about that, check out Barndoor at barndoor11 on Twitter.
Indeed. And how about Jake? What's going on over at the Blizzard side? What do they got coming up?
Yeah, so some of the big dates to keep in mind are, I think, is that the 29th to the 1st of May, we've got the MDI Group B. So that's, I don't know, I'm not the a sort of Mythic Plus kind of guy, so I don't know who's in Group B.
Oh, shoot. I did not post that. It's like 8 teams. Let's say that.
there's teams and they're competing against the time limit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they're doing. And then I think 13th to the 15th of May it's MDI Group C.
Yeah.
And then from the 20th to the 22nd of May there's the Last Stand tournament.
Yeah.
What is that? You have to remind me, Gerissar.
So the Last Stand is it's like the Losers Cup. So it's everybody that hasn't already got a spot at the grand finals can compete one more time to try to get a spot on the grand finals.
That's amazing.
Utter mayhem. It is, and it's tough. It's everybody that has lost so far fighting for that one more spot. It's
like that. Sounds like mayhem.
It is. It's bloody. It's so awesome to watch. All right.
You love to see it. Well, I mean, I didn't even know that was a thing. So you consider me enlightened. I'm a learned man now. So
I will note. So you remember how I put together a team to try to get that banner?
Mm-hmm.
So the banner, the people who had timed keys in preparation for this, they started getting the banner, but it's still available. So up until the end of the time trials for the Last Stand. So if anybody else sees people with the banner and they're like, oh man, I really want that. It's like, well, you can still do it. You just have to sign up to the MDI for the Last Stand and you'll get onto the tournament realm again. And then you'll have to, when they do the time trials for the tournament, for the Last Stand on the tournament realm, you're going to have to try to time those in order to get the banner then. So, yeah, a little long to say it, but yeah, it's anyway.
Amazing. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, you know what? I was almost tempted to do that for the Burning Crusade Classic AWC. Or what's it called? No, it's what's the name of it? They called it something really cool.
The
Classic
Cat
Arena Tournament, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was it. I wanted to do that for that. Apparently, you got like a title or something like that, but that never became a thing. So maybe Jake's MDI career starts now with the Last Stand. But on the 28th of May, the most important thing happens, which is the AWC circuit starts. So that's the top 8 teams from both NA and EU, or obviously so from their own separate brackets, I think. So it's the top 8 from NA and the top 8 from EU battle for a spot on the grand finals. So that's very exciting. Really looking forward to seeing that, especially with all the tuning that has happened. I think in the last couple of days would be interesting to see what things change.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see what tuning happens between now and the 28th of May, right?
Exactly. That's a long time.
Indeed. Maybe we'll see, I don't know. Maybe we'll see some buffs instead of some nerfs. We'll see.
Maybe we'll see Ellie Shaman. Maybe see Ellie Shaman out there. Ellie Shaman Nation. Everyone starts re-rolling. That'd be dope.
I don't know. I kind of feel bad for LA Shaman, but then I just don't.
But then oh no, it's great. Actually, admittedly, if people don't play it in the AWC, it's not going to get nerfed. So that's the main thing. So as long as it doesn't get
It's true.
touched, I'm happy.
It's true. True story. All right. Well, let's actually, speaking of nerfs and buffs, let's get into the news. But first, we're going to talk about the stuff that's happened and who's won what tournaments.
All right. Who ordered up an extra large can of whoop ass?
Oh, thanks, Millhouse. I always love starting Millhouse for this one. So, Oasis. They had the Oasis community. They did their Spring Fling 2v2, which is back on the 15th of April. And congratulations to Team Denial of Service. They're playing a Fury Warrior and Feral Druid, and they took the first place on that tournament. Player name Execute and Playing. That's I don't know. I wonder if they were playing Execute. But
That would have been better.
My bad on how I put the names together. Matcherino. We talked about this before. I helped administrate it, but there's the 10v10 RBG tournament, which happened just finished on Sunday. So congratulations to Team Camel for taking the first place on that. I mean, not really a big surprise. They're the number one team in North America for RBGs. So they were. Somebody just pointed out, Execute is mud. So the Fury Warrior that I just talked about in the Spring Fling, that was mud. All right. I should have known
Yeah,
that.
he's in that guild too. He's in that guild, Denial of Service, I believe, with Quick, the
Okay.
the big WoW guy,
Okay.
the president.
I completely fail at okay. I completely fail at knowing knowing teams and players and actual shoot. Okay. Anyways, speaking so back to the 10v10. Team Camel won that, took first place. Personally, I thought it was a great tournament. I had really fun. I had a fun time watching it, and just a huge congratulations to all the people that donated. Part of the tournament was helping raise money for the American Red Cross and their response to the crisis happening over at Ukraine. And they, everybody was able to chip together, and they raised just over $1,000. If I'm not mistaken, there's a couple stretch goals that hit. So I think in total, it's going to be somewhere around $1,500 that is going to be provided to the American Red Cross, which, I mean, really that's going to help some people that are right now homeless and trying to just survive while their country's being invaded. Yeah. All right. MDI, we just kind of talked about that. So the Group A finished again last weekend, and Team Echo and Baldy took first and second place. That secured them their spots at the global finals. Everybody else that was in Group A that didn't make it, they're going to have to wait till the last stand to fight their way to that last spot. So, and then hot fixes. Okay. Big. Was there anything in the hot fixes that you were interested in?
Yeah, actually, the official WoW site didn't update with the hot fixes. At least from what I saw, I only saw them on Wowhead. But there are some key nerfs to some of the things that a lot of people consider broken right now. The biggest things were the Assassination Rogue, tier set bonuses. Right now, I don't remember if it's a two piece or the 4-piece. Increases the tick time of your dots by 100% every time, I believe, Shiv is pressed. I don't remember exactly. It's either Shiv or Vendetta. Anyway, it was reduced by about half in PvP. The other big nerf, there's some nerfs to Holy Priests on the side of their tier set as well, along with Miracle Worker, which has been one of their default PvP talents. Interestingly enough, Holy Paladins got some buffs, I believe, which again is a bit. I say it's interesting because if Holy Priests right now are considered, I think, by most people to be the best healer, and Holy Paladins are probably considered to be the second best healer, but they got some buffs. So did Mistweaver Monks, which again, they're just kind of putting them in line with Holy Paladins and Holy Priests, and Resto Shamans got some buffs as well. again with related to their tier set bonuses. There was also a nerf to Prot Warrior, and this comes after, our friend over on YouTube, Rex Troy, released a Prot Warrior one-shot video, and we saw Swifty playing Prot Warrior one-shot on stream. They were doing quite a bit of damage with Shield Slam.
Just
And
a
so it
little
looks
bit.
like that was tuned down a bit. And then some Fire Mage nerfs. Blazing Barrier Absorb was reduced by 25%, which kind of makes sense since right now Fire Mage survivability is a bit overtuned, depending on who you ask, but most people tell you, yes, it's overtuned. So yeah, nerf to their shields. So yeah, some balance changes across the board, and kind of all of them kind of make sense with the exception of Holy Paladin being buffed. That kind of doesn't make sense to me, but if you're a Holy Paladin, I'm sure you're very happy about a lot of these changes.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by the Holy Paladin, but I mean, it's only like a 10% here and a 20% there. Like, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a buff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think for sure though the Holy Priest nerf makes a lot of sense. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't explain it to you, but playing Holy Priest as someone who's been playing healer for so long, rerolling Holy Priest, it feels like cheating. It honestly feels like you're hacking the game every time you press Serenity. It's actually nuts.
Well, as a
So
healer, what do you think about the life cocoon absorb increase by 33% as well? What do you think of that? Do you think
that
that's
makes sense. I mean, I think
Mhm.
yeah, I definitely like that change. I mean, if you watch Mistweaver Monk streams, I mean, sometimes Life Cocoon feels like a Rapture Shield from a Disc Priest. It's just like that's kind of their main big, let me save you from dying cooldown.
Mhm.
And it honestly doesn't feel like it's been strong enough to deal with the heavy burst damage of the Season 3 and even Season 2 meta. So I mean that change definitely makes a lot of sense on paper because yeah, I mean, people just melt through shields like instantly these
Yeah.
days. So I definitely agree with that change.
I
Yeah, I
think.
think.
Sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. Well, I was just going to say regarding melting through stuff. I had my Resto Shaman buddy today. I think died in point 0.8 of a second from the Asa Rogue 2-set and 4-set.
Yeah,
So it's just it doesn't do anything really. The big life cocoon is like just a giant shield. I mean, even on my Unholy Death Knight, when I pop my full go, um, it does do just it kind of gets just absolutely rinsed through. There's too many classes that kind of do it, so I definitely need a change for sure.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't know if 33% is enough to combat the melee burst. I feel that Mistweaver's that 33% cocoon plus their revival that, like, just drops pretty much all the dots and nobody gets, and there's no negative side to that. I think it'll feel stronger in more in like the BG setting than it will in arena. Does that make sense?
I think
yeah. I think Mistweavers are definitely kind of part of the meta right now in RPGs, and I think a lot of it
Mhm.
has to do with Revival and Peace Weaver. Affliction. It's all has to do with Affliction Warlocks. It's kind of weird how game balance is kind of like, you know, an ecological system where you nerf one thing, something else becomes more popular. And it's kind of the same thing with WoW. Like Affliction Warlocks are dominant in RPGs, so that means you need a Mistweaver Monk to, revival off the hots. Um, but in any case, I think this is a much needed change for Arena specifically because yeah, I mean, if you watch any Mistweaver stream, I think the difficulty of the Mistweaver is you just have to hard cast everything. Like you have to stand
Yeah.
still and cast your to channel your heal to apply uh the mist heal. I don't remember what it's called right now. But anyway, you basically have to hard cast, which kind of sucks. Meanwhile, you watch Holy Paladins and you watch Holy Priests play, they don't cast a single spell, especially
Mhm.
Holy Paladins. They cast like once a game.
Yeah.
But Mystery Monks, you have to cast constantly, so it just feels bad.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, the other healers are like, yeah, try to kick me. Haha. In the meantime, the poor Mistweaver sitting there with you know, with the spell school locked out. So I'm just trying to
Yep.
think if there's anything else that I'm not sure if there's anything else that really is PvP centric. A bunch of it was PvE, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. All right. So good point. So in the show notes, we'll have the hot fixes plus the little post there that you were talking about, the PvP tuning. It was supposed to get implemented today. They're probably just a little slow updating the website. Speaking of updates, though, we got so we had the new expansion, right? I guess first and foremost, what do you guys think about the Dragonflight expansion launch announcement? What do you guys think about it? Big?
Just waiting for Big to go.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say I really liked it. I mean, I like the way it was done. I kind of like that sort of round table approach where they kind of had all of the individual developers sit around and talk about
Right.
the key feature, the core features of the game. Honestly, I'm really excited. I mean, geez, I don't mean to sound like a Debbie Downer, but I feel like the game has felt so consistently the same for the past 3 expansions almost.
Yeah.
That I'm definitely keen on having any sort of change, and I think like having a new class is definitely a big change. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm just interested in all the sort of comp varieties that are going to be built around this new evoker class as a ranged DPS and a healer. I'm just definitely interested in that, and rarely do I ever personally feel the need to play a new class when it's released in expansion, but I'm kind of curious about this evoker thing since it is a entirely new healer.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
also one of the biggest points about the Evoker is the fact that it's the first range DPS added.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
And not a
we've only
leatherware.
lost that's true as well, because we've only lost range DPS because Survival Hunter became melee. So we're now even again. Technically,
True.
you've got to make up that negative. So
Yeah.
Well, I'll admit the video was really good. Uh, no surprise there, really. Interested about the story. Some of the talk about the systems, the talent trees being redone again. I have to admit, when I first heard that, I heard talents being redone, not just the trees. But it sounds like they're keeping the talents that they have, and they're probably going to add more. But they're going to rejig instead of just the so many lines, you pick one per line. This is going to be more back to being able to create a true hybrid system. So if you want to like focus just down on one specific tree, you can, or if you want to kind of get more hybridish, you can. And I saw it. So there's your class part of the tree, and then there's going to be your spec part of the tree as well, which is going to be kind of cool. That is that's looking really, really fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I'm getting really tired. Well, actually, I want to say I'm getting tired of just going to Wowhead and then just copying and pasting what's on Wowhead for the guide, or or Sea-Doo's latest video on Holy Priest or whatever. But honestly, I'm going to do that anyways because I don't have time to research. But I feel like there's still going to be that, well, you could do this or you could do that. It depends on how you want to play. You could do this or you could do that. It's going to be interesting. So the thing that really surprised me though is, you see, we're talking about the round tables. So they did a great job. They did an initial announcement and they went in to talk about these different systems and what they're doing. And then like right behind it, all of a sudden, Brian Holinka shows up on Bajira's stream and and does a PvP interview. Like,
Yeah.
what's up with that? Like, when was the last time that happened?
That was a really good interview, by the way. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I think every time I watch these developer interviews, specifically with Holinka, it just makes you realize how complex the game like truly is. I mean, I think like you log on Twitter and you see a million tweets about RMP, or the million screenshots about death logs, and it's kind of tempting to kind of view the game through this sort of singular lens, but I think it's really refreshing to kind of have a whole it kind of take a step back and see the game as a whole system. And I
Mhm.
think Brian does a really good job of kind of explaining sort of changes from the perspective of this like holistic system of classes that interact with each other. And I think it's just really healthy for the community to kind of be exposed to that sort of language, because I think we all kind of exist our own little spheres of influence, and kind of breaking away from that at times is definitely healthy.
Can't disagree. No. I got Jake. Did you watch the video?
Mm,
Do you watch?
of
Did
course, I
you catch it
streamed it.
live? Did you watch?
I did. I watched it live, and I thought it was. Listen, I don't often shed a tear at cinematics, but I was incredibly close when Stony Tony, whatever his name is, Keeper Koranos, was falling after having, after 10,000 years, having
Mhm.
crawled up there to get the dragons back, and he was falling and he was closing his eyes. I was like, no, don't. I was genuinely like so upset. It was very moving, and I'm glad Alex Strasser saved him. Obviously, spoilers if you haven't seen the cinematic yet. But I'm really glad that it's sorted, and I was really impressed. I mean, I think for me, the thing that I'm most excited about, and the kind of decision I made, and I said this to my mates before and buddies, WoW buddies that I talked to before the announcement, I said if they come out with a new ranged class, I was going to go fully into it. I'm gonna do as much content on that class, almost kind of drop Shaman completely and just focus on it, because I just thought it'd be something new and interesting for me to do after having spent, sort of 18 years in this game, to try something a
Mhm.
bit different. And I'm exceptionally excited about the new talent system. I think taking what we know from retail and re-implementing ideas from the classic community, like Ian said on stream, was they were saying that, was it like, people, they were so interested to see how a new generation had taken to the old style of talents. So they were like, well, we've got to bring something back that way, and I think that's going to be amazing. So your class, your spec, as two different talent trees, and I think that's what made WoW PvP in the first place so crazily good, was the idea that you could adapt and take maybe one point here would make all the difference in what you're facing.
Mhm.
So I think it'll be a lot of fun to see everyone trying to figure out, instead of it sort of like being cookie cutter, and you're going on to sort of Icy Veins or Wowhead to look at what would be the best talents for like TBC or Wrath. No one will know. Only the people obviously that play the alpha or the beta or kind of early access will kind of have an idea, but nobody will really know what's super strong until it comes out. And I think that's exciting for me. It's a refreshing change of pace, and I think it's
Yeah,
desperately needed.
definitely. I'll admit, when you first started talking, I thought you were about to say you shed a tear over the Bajira interview with Holinka. Not where you went,
I,
but you got me there.
the thing is, you can't expect me to go down this the straight and narrow. It's always winding and bending, always a surprise.
Yeah, it's always a winding cobblestone path, but I enjoy every
Exactly.
minute of it.
Good.
Well, I have to admit, I watched it all. Yeah, loved the intro, loved all the discussions. The conversation Bajira had with Brian, absolutely phenomenal. Definitely led to promise. There is the question of PvP gearing. It is going to be WoD-esque, but it's not going to be WoD exact. At least that's how it came across. It's going to be like WoD, but it's not going. So, and I know Brian has been around long enough that he doesn't misspeak. Like, he's very clear in his speaking and what he's saying. He says things exactly how he wants to say them. Um, I am curious what that's going to actually be, because I know there's a lot of people that really liked the WoD gearing and really want it to come back. And I hope that they capture the essence of it. I guess I don't understand why, if there's something that has worked and they've iterated and everybody keeps coming back and saying, just go back and do that. Why can't they just copy and paste it and do it again? Why does it have to be a different version of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's hard though, because I think a lot of games companies want to innovate, and
Mm-hmm.
then the players are like, no, why? If it's not broke, don't fix it. Why are you changing up what was working so well? And for me, like when I think about Mop and Wad gearing,
Right?
you know, it was perfect. It was sort of like, I've made a character, I've got it to end level, I do some BGs, I get the honor gear, I go into the arena, I get my conquest gear,
Mm-hmm.
simple, done.
Yeah.
There's no stress. There's no I've done my honor gear and now I need to level it up, and then I get into arena and I've got my arena gear, but then I also need to level it up and I need rating. It's sort of like that for me was like bringing back PvP gear, but trying too hard to replicate the past, and you're sort of like it's locked behind rating, and instead it's just a lot better if everyone can be on the same level, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm looking forward to the most. So hopefully
Yeah.
it's that way.
I mean, without putting on too much of a tinfoil hat, I think what tends to happen is you have all this development going into new systems for the game itself. So, for instance, in Shadowlands, it might have been the Covenant system was the predominant system that kind of helped define the whole expansion. Then I think that the challenge, I think the tendency on the development side of things is to try and fit existing systems to mesh into this new prevailing system. So it's like, how can we kind of mesh PvP gearing into this Covenant system? How can we mesh it into this new Vault system? There's always going to be ways in which I think the developers, or there's going to be a tendency rather, for the developers to kind of mesh everything together. And so I think that's what's kind of might be frustrating from. I think that is exactly where the disconnect tends to happen between the community and the developmental side of things. Is on one hand you have the developers who've created all these new amazing cool things. It's like, so maybe we can apply this to existing systems, and then the players are like, wait a second, no, I kind of like this existing system, don't change it. But again, all this money and time has already kind of been invested into this new thing, and so I think there's just that's kind of where the disconnect exists. um and I think the efforts that have kind of been made in recent patches to kind of change that have, I think, overall been for the better. I think even something as simple as comp stomp, it
Yeah.
ironically I think is a very nice way to kind of circumvent this problem, this design problem that kind of happens when these systems get meshed. Because let's be honest, getting geared for PvP from scratch takes a really long time.
Yeah.
Like
It can,
it's
yeah.
there. It's not that it can. It just does. Like, I mean, I without Comp Stomp, I can't imagine how long it would take to get my priest a full set of honor gear. With Comp Stomp, I tweeted about this. It took me 10 hours. It took Trill 8 hours because he's just a godly WoW player. But I mean, 8 hours to get the minimum amount of gear to be competitive in PvP kind of seems like a long time. I mean, personally for me, I know maybe for other people it doesn't seem like a long time, but I think that's just kind of again where the disconnect exists, is just the developers kind of have their own vision of the game, and it doesn't always mesh with the individual experiences of the players.
Yeah.
I'll admit, so 10 hours, that's a week's worth of gaming for most adults, I'd say.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was for
Like,
me. Yeah,
yeah.
it took
I
me
think
a week.
that's their whole week. That's no dailies. That's no anything else. That's just sitting comp stomp for a week just to
Yep.
get the entry level gear to then go.
Do you not think that's? I mean, for me, WoW it's a problem that I kind of call the WoW catch-22, which is the idea that it's stuck between a rock and a hard place because it wants to move on and be like the future of MMO. It wants to move past what it's already done. It wants to become something new, and that's kind of like genre defining, but has a player base that loves the older systems and wants the
Mm-hmm.
systems to remain and just stay the same forever so they can continually enjoy it in a new setting. But
Mm-hmm.
they can't do that. So we're kind of stuck in that point where we sort of end up getting new systems that nobody likes, or getting new systems that everybody loves and they stick. But it's so difficult, I think,
Mm-hmm.
for the developers to actually kind of cater to the fact that they've got PvP is saying one thing, PvE is saying one thing, and then the casuals not saying anything, they just unsub. So it's kind of like, that how do you handle that? Because it's a tough thing, and I can get why, it has been a difficult thing. But the main thing about Dragonflight and just the panels and everything is that they seem to be taking absolutely everything on board, going, we can innovate and include all the stuff that you love.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a really great answer to that problem, to that catch-22.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I will say, I feel like the devs like to go out, they play other games, they find things that they enjoyed playing, and then they try to implement them into World of Warcraft, and they don't necessarily fit the same, or like you said, it worked great over on that game because of how that game feels, but it doesn't fit in WoW. So
yeah.
But yeah. All right. I just talking about interviews. There's one more that just hit the Twitsphere. I put it up here. Mr. GM is interviewing Brian. So Mr. Holinka is coming back once again. It's going to happen this Thursday. So and Mr. GM was nice enough, put up a tweet. So if you want, go over to Mr. GMYT on Twitter, and you'll find his tweet over there. And he's asking questions. What do you want to still know? Is there something that's still burning your, that's a burning question that you want to ask or have asked? So go on over there, give Mr. GM your thoughts, and hopefully he's able to ask Brian and get that answer for you, right? That's it for us. I think I'll go first. Actually, I'll go. Jake, I haven't asked you first for a bit here. Do you have any shout-outs?
Do I have any shout-outs? That's a hard one. I probably say, well, actually, I know I'm going to shout. I'm going to shout out my boy Tommy K. He's a big Hoi 4 streamer, so something that's completely different to anything, but has refound his addiction to WoW and has come back and is making a Death Knight and is doing some lovely little streams. So I'm going to shout out to him. I hope he continues to bring WoW to his audience and spreads it far and wide, even if they don't like it. So that's I'm going to shout out to him.
Nice. How about you, Big?
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Leah, who's helping me play or learn how to play Priest this past week. It's been a really fun time, as I said earlier. And I look forward to playing more arena games. So thank you, Leah, for showing me how to play Priest.
Nice. I'm going to give a shout out to Mortai. Very active member in our community, active member of the PvP community overall, as well as Oasis and everybody. But he has been very active in our Discord and has helped keep personally me aware. I've been pretty distracted and busy this last couple weeks. And helped share things that he's also seen in the Twitter sphere and just his own thoughts. And yeah, if you want to give him a follow, he makes his own tweets. They're pretty thoughtful. So I'd say do that. That's us. I guess we should probably do where people can find us. I guess. Why don't we start with you, Big? Why don't you let's get into the outro here.
Yeah, sure. So you can contact us directly with a tweet to @technically_PvP or by an email to technicallypvp@gmail.com. You can also join our discussions on the Warcraft Radio Discord.
Yeah, also you can visit the Warcraft Radio website to find the podcast directory with us and many other great shows at warcraftradio.com. This new directory has a review system, so head over there and tell everyone what you think of your favorite shows. So it'd be fantastic for you to let us know what you think. Give us 5 stars.
Indeed. I'd love 5 stars. Or give us 1 star. Tell us what you think. Seriously. As always, links for everything we talked about are going to be in the show notes. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we will chat with you next time. Good night, everybody.
See ya.
Good night.